ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीराय। सिन्वातं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यवादानि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भाविति नैष्टिकी मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलङ्घयते गिरिं यत्किपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरं श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। Hare Krishna, everyone. Thanks for joining and giving me the opportunity to speak on this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Um, Today's chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, on text 18 to 22. So now I'll start with the 4, 29, 18, 20, and then 21, 22. So this chapter is called Talks Between Narad and the King Kachinavari, text 18 to 20. देहरथस्तु इन्द्रियासः संवत्सरारयो गतिः विकर्म चक्रत्रिगुणा ध्वजः पञ्चसु बन्धुरः मनोरश्मिर्बुधिसुतो हृन्निधो द्वन्द्वकुवरः पञ्चेन्द्रियार्थ प्रक्षेपाः सप्तधातु वरोहतकः आकृति विक्रमो भायो आकृति विक्रमो बाह्यो मृगतृष्णं प्रधावति एकादशेन्द्रिया चमुः panchasuna vinodkrit. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Narada Muni continued, what I refer to you as the chariot was in actual the body. The senses are the horses that put that chariot. As time passes, year and year after year, those horses run without obstructions. But in fact that they make no progress. Pious and impious activities are the two wheels of the chariot. The three modes of material nature are the chariot's flag. The five types of life air constitute the living entity's bondage, and the mind is considered to be the rope. Intelligence is the chariot driver. The heart is sitting place in the chariot, and the dualities of life, such as pleasure and pain, are the knotting place. The seven elements are the covering of the chariot, and the working senses are the five external processes. The 11 senses are the soldiers. Being engrossed in sense enjoyment, the living entity seated on chariot hankers after fulfillment of his false desires and runs after sense enjoyment life after life. Purport: the entanglement of living entity in sense enjoyment is very nicely explained in these verses. The war Samvatsar, meaning the progress of time, is significant day after day, week after week, fortnight after fortnight, month after month. Year after year, the living entity becomes entangled in the chariot's progress. The chariot rests on two wheels, which are pious and impious activities. The living entity attains a certain position in life in a particular type of body according to his pious and impious activities. But his transmigration into different bodies should not take place, should not be taken as progress. Real progress is explained in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोचना. One makes real progress when he does not have to take on another mortal body, as stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 18, 19, 138. एत ब्रह्माण्डभरि अनन्त जीवगण चौराक्षी लक्ष योनिते करये भ्रमण. The living entity is wandering throughout the entire universe and taking birth in different species on different planets. Thus, he moves up and down. But that is not real progress. Real progress is getting out of this metal world altogether, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 18, 8.16. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punar avartinarjuna mamopeto kanteya punar janmana vidyate. From the highest planet in the metal world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death are the case. But no, but one who attends to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Even if one is promoted to Brahmaloka, the highest planet in the universe, he has to come down again to the lower planetary systems. Thus, he is wandering up and down perpetually. Under the influence of the three modes of matter nature, being illusion, he thinks he is making progress. He is like an airplane encircling the earth day and night, incapable of leaving the Earth's gravitational field. Actually, there is no progress because the airplane is conditioned by the Earth's gravity. Just as a king is seated on the chariot, the living entity is seated in the body. The sitting place is the heart, and the living entity sits there and engages in the struggle for existence, which goes on without progress perpetually. In the words of Narottam Das Thakur, कर्मकांड ज्ञानकांड केवल विषय भांड अमृत बलिया एव खाय नाम योनि सदा फिरे केदर्य भक्षण करे तारे जन्म अध पात्याय. The divinity struggles very hard due to the influence of fruitive activity and mental speculation and simply gets a different types of body life after life. He eats all kinds of nonsense and is condemned by his activities of sense enjoyment. If one really wants to progress in life, he must give up the ways of karmakand and jnanakand, fruitive activities and mental speculation. Being fixed in Krishna consciousness, one can become free from the entanglement of birth and death and the vain struggle for existence. In these verses, the words Mrugatrishnam, Pradhavati are very significant because the living entity is influenced by a thirst for sense enjoyment. He is like a deer that goes to the desert to search out water. In a desert, an animal simply searches in vain for water. Of course, there is no water in the desert, and the animal simply sacrifices his life in an attempt to find it. Everyone is planning for future happinesses, thinking that if he can somehow or other reach a certain point, he will be happy. In actually, however, when he comes to that point, he sees that there is no happiness. He then plans to go further and further to another point. This is called Mrugatrushna, and its basis is sense enjoyment in this material world. Text 21. संवत्सर चन्द्रवेगः कालयोनोपलक्षितः तया हानिः गन्धर्वा गन्धर्व्यो रात्रयः स्मृतः हरन्ति आयुः परिक्रान्त्या षष्ट्युत्तरशतत्रयम्. Translation. What was previously explained as Chandavega, powerful time, is covered by days and nights named Gandharvas and Gandharvis. The body's lifespan is gradually reduced by the passage of day and nights, which number 360. Purport. The word Krantya means by traveling. The living entity travels on this chariot day and night during a year, consisting of 360 or more days and nights. Life's progress is taken for the unnecessary labor required to cover these 360 days and nights of life. Text 22. कालकन्या जरा साक्षाल लोकतम नवीनंदन लोक लोकताम नवीनंदति स्वसारम जग्रे मृत्यु सेयाय यवनेश्वरः. Translation. What was described as Kalakanya should be understood as old age. No one wants to accept old age, but Yavaneswaral, Yavanaraj, who is dead, accept Jara, old age, as his sister. Purport. Encased within the body, the living being accept Kalakanya, old age, just before death. Yavaneswara is the emblem of death, Yamaraj. Before going to the place of Yamaraj, the living entity accepts Jara, old age, the sister of Yamaraj. One is subjected to the influence of Yavanaraj and his sister due to impious activity. Those who are in Krishna consciousness and are engaged in devotional service under the instruction of Narada Muni are not subjected to the influence of Yamaraj and his sister Jara. If one is Krishna conscious, he conquers death. After leaving the material body, he does not accept another body that is material, but returns home back to Godhead. This is verified by Bhagavad Gita 4.9. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नमिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna everyone, thanks for joining. And this particular verse, we are from 4.29 and 18 to 22. So, as you know, Narad Muni, an expert preacher, and he, very eloquently gives katha examples and guides the fallen soul. As you know, who are the very great personalities, guided by our spiritual master of Narada Muni, like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, right? So here, he is very expert, eloquently gives katha, allegorical story to whom? King Prachinavari, right? But because he can very easily uplift the fallen soul, he has that much power. Those people are in very high position. It's very difficult to please them. But preacher like Narada Muni is very expert how to please different kinds of mass of peoples or any specific particular kind of peoples. He's very expert in preaching. Generally, kings are very proud and powerful, and it applies to King Prachinavari to you know to to preach such kind of people to one expert type of to expert this type of powerful or to preach this kind of powerful king, we need expert preacher like Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a very expert preacher, and he said to King Prachinavar that I'll tell a story, and he made him hero in that story. King did not know who is the main character of the story and could not understand it's his story only. Narada Muni told him in such a way that he appreciated the story and fully absorbed in it. At the end of the story, he asked, I fully count. I could not understand the whole story. Can you please kindly tell me about what you are talking about? Then Narada Muni started talking about the meaning of the story, the allegorical story he explained in this verse, in the chapter. So from now on, he started to explaining the story, the story, what he explained, the meaning of the story. Then Narada Muni said, I'll tell the meaning of the story, but still King was intelligent and he understood the story. So Narada Muni indirectly told him, "You are a number one fool." Because all living entities are conditioned in this world and are fooled by Mayadevi. We are spirit soul, part and part of Krishna. We are very powerful. But when we came to this material world, we become foolish, forgetful, and become totally unintelligent. But we think we are very great in this world. We achieved many things and compared with others, which they do not have it. What I have, they do not have it. So then I think I am greater than others. This is the conditioned life in this material world. Whatever activities we do here, we get recognition, name, fame, etc. and think that we are doing great. In this way, we forget who we are, who Krishna is, and what is the purpose of life. So it's required a personalities like Narada Muni to come and shake up the person like us and tell us what is the goal of life. It's very difficult. It is very difficult attach conditional soul to understand the reality of life. So the expert teacher always use some tricks to attract the conditioned souls to break his illusion. A devotee very well know how to preach mass people, conditional soul, or intelligent person. King Prachinavari could not properly understand the allegorical story, and now from this verse onwards, Narada Muni explaining the meaning of it. Sometimes we read Gita, no material nature, also take Bhakti Sadhya courses, many lectures and all, but still we act as conditioned soul. This is nature of conditioning. Example of, for example, if I give an example of a lion, right? Lion is very powerful. But have you seen the lion in the circus? So in the circus, there will be a trainer. The trainer in the hand of the trainer, there is a small stick. So whatever the preacher, or sorry, the trainer tell the lion will do the exactly same thing. I have seen in the in the circus, the trainer will say that they will open the lion. When open space, the lion will come and sit in a table. There is a small table. Lion will sit there. And even though the trainer will ask the lion, "Hey, open your mouth." The lion will open the mouth, and another guy will go and put his head to this mouth of the lion. The lion could not bite. He just made his mouth wide open so that people can entertain. Then people will clap it, and then there will be a fire. They put the fires in the ring of fire. Then the lion will jump to the ring of fire and sit again in the same bench, same stool, same tool. So why this happened? Because the lion thinks, if I do this, then my owner will give me some food. Then I'll be happy. Got it? So similarly, the lion is conditioned. He doesn't know his actual position. He's conditioned because of what? Because he's getting little bit food after he's do some activities, right? So just imagine if the lion immediately understood, immediately get conscious. Oh, I am the king of the jungle. What will happen? Then the whole environment will be completely different, right? Because he can easily jump over and run out to the jungle because he is so powerful. And so similarly, you know, similar the conditioned soul, we are the conditioned soul and engaged in this material world. We are just a lion in this we are by born because we are the part and parcel of Krishna. Jiva Swarupo He Krishna Nityadas, right? We are part and parcel of Krishna. Once you understand our actual position in this world, right? So then we can be very happy and we will be start loving Lord Krishna. Since our condition of life, we are encased, we are just sitting as a lion, and for the sake of small happiness, we are doing so many activities. We are getting entangled in this material world. There is no way to get out of this material world. So, so as you know, so Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, oh my God, Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Similarly, if you understand our actual position, then you will be very happy and become a lover of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's preaching is like this to release the conditioned soul from the cage of Maya. Prabhupada teaches we are like lion and do not be conditioned. He teaches how we will become lion and roar in devotional service. So here is the analogy of the story we explained about. So as in this particular verses, we know that Narada Muni breaks down the components, the chariot, So the chariot represents the body, the physical form of the subtle body. Okay. Here in this verse, the horses is represented senses. The senses pull the chariot, moving forward with the passage of time, but taking no real spiritual progress. The wheels, pious and impious activities, the results of karma determines the type of life the body, the living entity attains. The flags represent the three most material nature. The ropes and bondage, right? That depends on the mind and the five life airs. The driver is represents as intelligence, right? The intelligence is meant to guide the chariot. The sitting place, also known as heart, the heart is where the living entity is seated. The dualities of life, pleasure and pain, right? So these are things. And what are the seven elements are mentioned in this verse? The seven elements covering the chariot or the body is known as skin, blood, flesh, fat, bone marrow, and semen. Then the five types of prana, right? We know prana, apana, samana, udana, and vyana. Bind the living entities to the conditional life. Because of this prana, we are alive and perform work. So these are the main important factors. The two wheels of the chariots represent punya and papa karma, right? Punya and papa karma. So you don't know why the living entity become conditioned in this material world because of two things. The living entity's condition is material world. What is that? One is called the fruitive activities. Okay, the fruitive activities, and what is the second one? One is the fruitive activities, and the another one is called the another one is called one is fruitive activities. The other is called other is called mental speculation. Because of these two things, we are conditioned this life. So this particular verse represents one gives a very strong message, right? After doing so much effort, the living entity is not doing any progress. It's sitting in the same place. I'll just give you a small example and wind up. So, what happened? I'll give you an example how the living entities are conditioned in this world cannot do any progress. For example, one time a people or a dula or bridegrooms going to to go for a barat, for procession of barat to go to marry a girl, and so he had to cross the river to marry a girl, and he went to the river and asked the boatman, hey, can you please help us to take to the other part of the river? He said, yeah, sure. So then all sit in the boat, and then okay, the boatman said, okay, you sit here and take rest, then I'll reach you to the destination. So what happened? Then the people sit there and they take some rest, they nap, they so then when they wake up, they say that they see that wherever they were in the before, they were in the same place. The boat even didn't move in a single inch. So they asked the boatman, what happened? The boatman said, the whole night I was trying to move, but I could not move anything. So which means that what happened? Because as you know, the boat is always tied or always joined with an anchor. The anchor is in the shore of the ocean or shore of the river, correct? The boatman forgot to release the boat from the anchor. That's why the boat could not move anywhere. The boat is sitting in the same place exactly like it was before. Why this example I gave? Because in this material world, we think we are doing progress. We are going to sometime Brahmaloka, sometime hellish planets, right? We are entangled in this material world. What is the attachment we have? What is the attachment? Because we have three types of karma, vikarma, and akarma. So the both and the activities represents the karma and vikarma. We are doing karma and vikarma, but we are not doing akarma. What is akarma? The akarma is called the boat is tightened to an ankle. right, to an ankle in the bed. That is called akarma. Akarma means if you release the boat from the ankle, then the boat can easily move. Similarly, if you do perform akarma, akarma means to do devotional activities, right? Then after will be released from the clutches of Maya. So with this note, I'll stop here. So Haribol, Hare Krishna, and Banta Kalptari, Vesa Prapasundave, Vachapati Radam Pavaneva Vaishnava Namo Namo.